All right, good afternoon. All right, let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and get started in a seat. So any comfortable seated position is fine. Cross-legged, or maybe even if you want to do bottoms of the feet together, knees a little bit wider. Start out that way. You can just sit really tall. Taking big breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. And then we'll start, if you have those bottoms of the feet together, maybe just lean it forward a little bit. And just staying with that breath. If you don't want this stretch, you want it to stay nice and chill, even in a seated position here. Just focus on that breath. You can do that too. But just go right into that stretch to start out. Keep lengthening through that spine. Nice flat back as we pull that chest a little bit closer to those feet. Let's go and bring it back up. Now let's find that cross of the legs. Let's twist it over to your right side, sitting nice and tall. The exhale, finding a little bit more twist. And we'll go over to the other side, sit tall, exhale, twist. And then we'll bring it back to center. Go ahead and reach that left arm up and over, big side bend. We'll inhale it back up and to the other side. That right arm will reach up and over. Let's bring it back to center, sliding those hands forward, maybe staggering those feet a little bit so those ankle bones aren't pressing into the mat. Grounding through those hips, lifting through that chest. Let's walk those hands over to that left knee. We'll go center and over to that right side. And come back to center. And then walk those hands back. Let's just switch that cross of the legs. And we'll bring the arms up. We'll twist over to that right side or your left side first. Then we'll go over to your right side. And back to center, reaching that right arm up and over. Go back up, over to the other side. We'll reach both arms up, lower those hands down, and find that fold, the hip stretch. So let's walk those hands over to that right side. Let's go center, and then to that left side. And then come back to center. Pause here for another breath. And then we'll walk those hands back. Go ahead and roll on over to the hands and knees. Let's step it right back to a plank. Hold for a couple more breaths here. Really strong through the legs. Chest pulls forward. Hands are pulling back as the toes pull forward. And then we'll drop those heels over to that right side. Left arm will reach up. And we'll bring it back to our front plank and then over to that left side. Right arm is reaching up. If you need to lower that bottom shin down, you can. And then come back to our front plank. We'll lift those hips back up into that down dog. So press the heels down, press that tailbone up, big stretch through those calves, the hamstrings, stretch those ankles. And let's step those feet up to our hands into that forward fold. So let's bring those hands up to the shins to start. Then we can slide those hands down a little bit further as we fold. Just let that head hang a little bit heavier. Let that body, the torso hang, maybe even grabbing opposite elbows. Just seeing how that feels on your hamstrings. It might be a little bit too much. You can always bring the hands back to the shins or to the ground for a little extra support. Let's bend into those knees. Let's come up to standing. Reach up tall. Let's interlace those fingers. Let's flip those palms up. So we'll stretch those arms as well. And then bend it over to that right side. Inhale it up. Let's go over to that left side. Inhale, let's bring it back up. And then release those hands down as we fold. Again, bring those hands to the shins. And then slide those hands back down. Let it hang heavy for a breath or two. We'll rise back up to standing. Reach the arms up, interlace those fingers, side bend to the right. Inhale it up tall, to the left. Inhale, reach it back up, and then fold that flat back. And then let that head hang heavy. So one more time, bring it back up. Interlace those fingers, palms up, side stretch, over to the right. Inhale up, to the left. Bring it back up, and then we'll fold. Let's add a little twist in now. So bend those knees, flatten out that back, bend into the right knee a little bit more, and then twist that left arm up. And then lower that hand down as we fold. We'll go to the other side. So re-lengthen out, bend into that left knee. Right arm will reach up. And then we'll lower the hands down. Let's go and plant them. Let's step those feet back to a plank. We're going to lower down onto those knees. We're going to do some push-ups here. So lower down, shoulders high to the elbows. Press back up. Back down and up. Down. Up. Last one. Lower. Press it back up into the plank. Let's go side plank over to the right. And front plank over to the left side. And front plank hold. And then send those hips up into that down dog. Stepping that right foot through, that right thumb. That knee will stay lifted. We're going to reach those arms up overhead. So think taking that arch out of the low back first, and then bend into that front knee. Arms are reaching up. Slowly lower back down, just hovering that left knee a few inches above the ground. Press it back up. Hover that knee, so lower, hover. Back up. Last time. Lower that knee just to hover. Hold another breath. And then go ahead and lower that knee all the way down. Core stays tight. Pressing those hips forward. And we'll find the twist. Left hand forward, right arm reaches back, and then reach that left arm up as that right hand walks down that back hamstring. Now both arms will come back up. Straighten that front leg. Hover that chest over that shin. Hands can come onto the ground or just stay on the shins. We want that back nice and flat. This hip is staying down. So right hip is pulling down and back. And then left arm reaches up. And then lower that hand down. Let's go ahead and rebend it, stepping that foot back to that down dog. And then we'll step that left foot forward. And back knee, back heel stays lifted. Arms are up. Take that arch out of the low back. Bend into that front knee. Arms are up. Again, lower that right knee to just hover a few inches above the mat. And then lift back up. Lower back down. And up. Last time, lower down, hover. Pause it here. And then lower that back knee down. Here, we'll twist it. Right hand reaches forward, left hand reaches back, and then reverse it. So that right hand up, left hand down the back leg. Now both arms are up. Straighten that front leg as we fold. Nice flat back. Good, so lift through that chest a little bit more. Keep that left hip down and back as we twist that left arm up. And lower that hand down. Rebend into that front knee. Stepping it back to our down dog. Let's come forward to that plank. We have 5 more push-ups. So get on the toes or on the knees. Lower, pause. Back up. Down. Back up. Lower. And back up. Let's go 2 more. Down, pause. Back up. Keep that core really tight. Down. And back up. We'll go side plank. Over to the right side. Center. Over to the left side. And back to our front plank. Hips up to that down dog. And then we'll step that right foot through to that right thumb. Back heel lifted. Back knee up. Rising up. And then we'll lower, hover that knee. Send it back up. Lower down, hover. Back up. Last time, lower. Hold. And drop that knee down. Twisting left hand forward. Right arm reaches back. And reverse it. Reaching that left arm up to the sky and back. And then lower those hands down towards the mat. Straighten that front leg. Lifting through that chest. We'll twist that right arm up. And then we'll lower that hand. We bend into that front knee. Step it on back to our down dog. And we'll step that left knee or the left foot to the left hand. Inhale those arms up. Lower that knee down, hover. Back up and down. Back up. Lower that knee down, hold. And then drop that knee, twisting right hand forward. Left arm reaches back and reverse it. And lower those hands down. Straighten that front leg. Pull those toes back. And then that right hand will stay down. Twisting, left arm reaches up. And then we'll lower that hand down. Rebend into that knee. Go ahead and step it back to that down dog. Come forward to our plank. 5 more push-ups. So if you've been doing it on the toes, maybe we try do a few on, if you're doing it on the knees, maybe try a few on the toes. So lower, press up, and down. Back up, down, back up. 2 more. Lower and up, lower. Send it back up. Side plank to the right. Back to the front, to the left. Back to the front, setting those hips up, stretching out the backs of those legs. And now we'll set both feet up to the top of the mat. Finding that half lift, that flat spine. Exhale, fold. And then we'll rise on up. Big step open with that right foot. The toes are parallel to each other. Or not, the outside edges of the feet are parallel to each other. And lower those hands down. The back can be, you should be, nice and flat to start. Bending those knees a little more. Slowly walk those hands back. Now let's turn those toes out, heels, and lunge over to, so if I'm near you guys, your left side. Center, go over to the right side. Center to the left. Center to the right. Trying to keep those hips nice and low. One more time each way, over to the left and over now to the right. Bring it back to center, turn those toes and heels out, flat back, head and fold. And slight bend into those knees. Let's go ahead and rise on up. Step both feet up to the top. Reach those arms up. Interlace the fingers, palms up. Side stretch over to the right. Inhale it back up to the left. Bring it back up. Now we're going to walk those feet a little bit wider. Toes are turned out. So maybe even bringing your pinky toes out to that very edge of the mat. We're going to bring the hands to heart center. Sink those hips down into that squat. Just holding it here. Drive those knees out. Back is flat. Chest is lifting. So a couple more breaths. So 3, 2, and 1. Straighten those legs out. Find that fold. Let's go ahead and sink those hips back down into that squat here. And then we'll just go ahead and roll it. You need to use your hands. You can. Onto your backs. Let's do a little bit more core now. So we'll lift those legs, lift through the arms, lift through the chest. If this is a little bit too much, just lower those toes down for a little extra balance. Let's hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now extend it out long. So those legs are lifted, arms and shoulders, head is lifted. Just that low back and tailbone are on the mat. Let's hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hug those knees and give a little rock from side to side. Then now hug those knees in. You will extend it out long. So keep the legs, arms, shoulders lifted. Now we're gonna do a little kick with it. So just flutter kicking those legs. We'll go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax, hug the knees in. Press that head down. Let's lower those feet down, bridging those hips up, extension through those hip flexors, through those quads. And let's lower those hips down, cross that right ankle over, draw that knee in, so grab onto that hamstring, or maybe that shin, tailbone down, back is flat. So we don't want to feel like those vertebrae are digging into the mat. We want to feel like they are lifted. And then go ahead and release it, switching sides. That left ankle will cross over. Grab onto that shin. Tailbone down, head down. Chest is lifting. And then go ahead and release that foot down. Uncross it. Hug the knees in. Now let's stack those knees right over the hips. Shins are parallel to the ground. Let's lift the hips, bring them over to that right side, or no, over to your left side. And then we'll drop the knees over to the right. So it doesn't really matter which way you've moved them, just drop your knees the opposite direction. So your spine is nice and straight out the middle of the mat. And then bring the knees back to center. And bring those hips over to that right side. Then drop those hips, the knees, over to the left side. That right arm can reach out, right shoulder stays down. And bring it back up. Let's rock. Forward mat coming up to that seat, crossing those legs. Let's just sit here for a moment, just breathing in and out through the nose. Just relaxing, being in this moment for a few breaths before we continue on with the rest of our Friday. Blinking those eyes open. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend. We do have yoga tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning. So hopefully I will see you all there. Otherwise, have a good one.